And the reason why I stuck with Kung Fu, because I went from not being able to jump, went from 145 back up into 190 within a matter of months. So I'm like, wow, this is interesting. So when the basketball stopped, I went into another shift. I was in Kung Fu. So going back to the ghetto in St. Louis, it wasn't received very well. I was Bruce Leroy, Ninja Man, all this kind of stuff, and I just weathered the storm because I was dealing with something you can't talk about. When you're young, you got this macho thing going on. You ain't gonna tell nobody you sick. So I walked around like, like everything was all good. So one day I was at my house. Back then, every crack was all over the place. I had crack heads next door on both sides. So one day I see my kids outside in the backyard, and all of a sudden they run into the house being chased. So this was the beginning of my process. So I trained my kids how to defend themselves. Before I know it, I had a whole band full of kids. And I was taking them up to Wold Community Center, got laughed at by everyone. So eventually I went through Job Corps and I got better, got All-American and played a year of pro ball and got, and after that I went to Job Corps, moved out here to Kansas City, and I was working, round the clock, real estate, Kung Fu, and I just was coming from poorness. And when you're coming from poorness, even though you have money, you still feel poor. So I was working 24/7. All of a sudden, I'm living on 17 hours of sleep. One day I'm driving home, blacked out on the highway at 75 miles an hour, had my car on cruise, had a grand mal seizure. And the Lord Jesus took my vehicle and drove it 12 miles down the highway. And then when the Lord pulled me over on the side of the road, and I wasn't even there. The window was cracked. So the police went up to the windows and looked, and he said I went into another seizure. I went right into inbound traffic 100 yards and didn't hit a single car. And then my car whiplashed back and drove over the highway on the other side into a tree. And the Lord baptized me on that tree, because before that, I was Old Testament, and I run a martial arts school. When people used to come and whoop me, I was singing hallelujah, because, hey, they're going to get a lesson. They're going to be different when they leave, but when I hit that tree, I got off that tree with love. That's when I really found Jesus. I didn't know nothing about love, I grew up in the ghetto. People was getting shot, going to jail. So love wasn't a big thing, So when I hit that tree, I come off different. I went from fighting to beating people to fighting with the spirit. So before that, after that, I went into 10 years of grand mal seizures, biting off my tongue, pieces of my tongue, mouth swole up, having seizures in class. When you macho, you big, you strong, all of a sudden, all my power was tucking. I thought I was just nothing. I lost all sense of value and self-worth. But I read the Bible it's 24 times now. I'm in Ezekiel. I read the Bible 24 times from front to back. So I read in this section where it says, that we walk in, he said to me, my grace is sufficient in thee, for our strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I rather glory in my infirmities, the power of Christ rests upon me. Therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, reproach, necessities, persecution, distress for Christ's sake. But when I am weak, then I am strong. That changed my life. It gave me new hope. It gave me joy. It made me realize just being broken and sick wasn't a bad, that's how Jesus worked through everyone. That you can't get a relationship with Jesus without suffering. You got to go down and you got to just be at the bottom of your rope. So when I went through that seizures for 10 years, I was afraid to go outside and cut the grass, because I was the only house in the neighborhood that had the ambulance truck pulled in once a year. So I would cut glass in the dark, and so I had 10 years of those seizures, and then the Lord just stepped in and wiped them out. I ain't had one in 10 years. So all I'm saying is hallelujah every day. I feel sorry sometimes for healthy people, because they don't know what's coming and they don't know if they're going to get up. So all I can tell you is grab the book, because the answer's there. So then all of a sudden my seizures went away. I'm thinking, oh Lord, you took me to the bottom, and now I'm back standing up. And before you know it, guess what? I own houses. I went into a house, had black mold. It got in my lung, rolled my lung up like a party balloon. My lung was under my collarbone. They couldn't even find it. So they went inside and took the lung out. And I tell you, I disappeared flatline for twice. And I tell you, I seen something that every time I went down, I came back different. So So the first time I went down, the Lord, I thought I was going home. I seen the nice clouds, all the silhouettes around me. I was singing hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. I'm tired of this place. Well, guess what? The Lord said it ain't time. Hit me in the head, sent me right back. I'm like, oh. So when I went out again, they did a 6-hour operation, supposed to be 2. I flatlined again. And this time I'm like, wow, the clouds was all like, it was just, man, it was warm and nice. And then here we go again. I got pushed back. And I was like, Lord. So when I came out the hospital, I was a different person. I fought with a different spirit. I beat people gently. Before then, when I fought people, I would beat them and I humiliated them without hurting them. I thought that was good. But when I came out that hospital, after that lung got took out, I came out with a whole new understanding. The Lord said, why beat them and humiliate them when you can just beat them and show them death on the first move? And that way no one is what? Humiliated. I know this sounds bizarre, but no one has touched my body in combat for 46 years. And I know that's hard to understand, but I ain't trying to sell nothing. I've been quiet. The only reason why I'm talking now is because my daughter said, come on, Dad, let's do this, Dad. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, but I don't talk about my sickness because sometimes people, and they see it wrong, but I'm not talking about it to you so you can feel sad for me. I'm happy. The Lord took me down and brought me back. Not everybody gonna come back, you know, and being 62, what can I say? I sing hallelujah every day. I go in that school, I got kids 5 years old, now they're 25 with 3 kids. I mean, I'm just happy, you know, and I think the Lord, he gave me purpose, you know, and I get a chance to preach the word. I got kids coming to my school. I got kids that trained 30 years ago, and they said, wow, Teacher Lee, you still preaching. I said, hallelujah, sure am. I'm a Christian monk. Yeah, I preach and I fight, and I don't hurt people. You don't survive 26 years in one location because you hurt people. You survive because you preach the word to them. You change them from the inside. You give them hope, and you let them know that there's despair everywhere around you. But you don't have to tap out and give up. Grab the book, bury your head in it. When you bury your head in that book, you're going to see people who have suffered much greater than you. When I look at John the Baptist, Paul, Elijah, I can keep going, you know, Moses, you know, I can keep naming them, you know, and it's just, when I look at their story, I'm like, wow, I'm inspired. My situation ain't so bad after all. Mm-hmm. So when people come to my school, they all broken. I got some that on the suicide list and some on Facebook talking about killing themselves. When I get done, they smiling because they realize that how can a man go down so many times and come back with the spirit of joy and love? And mm-hmm. I fight with love, and men not used to hearing that word love, but love in combat means that I have no desire to hurt you. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, when you leave my school, that same desire, that same humility steps in. And all of a sudden you realize that maybe, yeah, maybe bad is good and good is bad. How you know bad is bad? God could be teaching you something. Why sit there and go, woe is me? Why go there and ask, you know, and pray to the doctor guy? You know, nobody can help you when you're going down, you know, unless Jesus. And Jesus told me when I was in my suffering state. And then I had a notice about, you know, I had cancer. You know, I'm like, wow, Lord, what's next? They told me I'm going to get my blood checked. I go pulled up in the parking lot, and the building said, Cancer Institution of America. My heart melted. I couldn't even get out of my car. I had to sit there. And then behind that, my father, in the same week, I get a call saying my father's dying. I'm like, wow, what's next, Lord? Mm-hmm. So I had to sit here, knowing I had epilepsy, sit here and worry. I thought I was gonna have a seizure and go away. I mean, that's how deep it was. So they said you got to get 2 weeks to get your test back. 2 weeks. So I waited that 2 weeks, and then it came back false negative.
Wow.
False negative. I was like, hallelujah. I thought I was going. I just like, well, Lord, hey, it's time, so I need stressing it. The Lord told me, hey, you don't need to be afraid. If I want to take you out of here, nobody can save you. You can have 1,000 doctors around you. You ain't gonna go. You're still going home. So why spend time worrying about all this crazy stuff? So I'm at that place in my life now where I'm singing hallelujah every day. Every day I wake up is a birthday. We don't know how blessed you are. If you got, I have 2 lines: the call and the chosen. The call of the people who know God, who got a moral conscience. The chosen are the ones who got to lose their brain, lose their lung, lose their heart, suffer one suffering after another. And which line you want to be in? Which line would you want to volunteer for? Well, I tell you, you don't want to walk in my shoes. I tell you that. I went through 17 years of black darkness, suffering. And the only thing that got me up was a word. I buried my head in that word and I read it and I read it and I read it and I read it. And I got stronger in my words and my prayers. And I helped people, not because I could kick, it's because I could preach to them. So, Brenda, I know I've swelled up everybody's ears and everybody's ears probably vibrating right now, you know? So anyway, I'm gonna let you go, girl. And if you know, I appreciate
all you guys. Thank you.
I love you too. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you much.
Thank you for swinging in and telling us your story. Yeah, Dad, he made a really good point about, going down good and bad. Like, it's hurt versus harm. Sometimes the things that hurt you are really building you up. And sometimes the things that you think are good are really harming you. It's like a piece of candy. You eat a piece of candy, you like, this is fire. But then you get a cavity from it. But somebody correcting you, which is what God does all the time to me, and to my father and to all of us. Somebody correcting you hurts. It's painful. It digs deep. But that's also the same thing that's building you up. So hurt versus harm is a tricky thing. I wanted to share that because I thought that was a good point, Dad. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
All right, Brandon, you have a blessed one now.
All right, you too, Dad.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. All right.
Coach Mac. All right, y'all, I'm gonna bring my mom to the stage. A lot of y'all probably already know her. She either taught y'all in track and field or in PE or something. And a lot of you all know her as a coach and as a teacher, but nobody really knows her as a woman. So I'm gonna give her 5 minutes, Mom. Just share your testimony and let us know, those struggles, them lows, and where you are now in your life. Unmute yourself. Hold on.
All right, Brandon, have a blessed one now.
Okay, Dad, I'll see you later. Right. We'll talk. Okay. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Hey, Mom, how you doing?
Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I was born in Jamaica long, 65 years ago, as a matter of fact. So when my trauma started when I was about 5, 6 years old, my mom decided that she wanted to move to the United States, like a lot of immigrants. She wanted to move. Now, being 6, I didn't quite understand. I heard. So next thing I know, she was gone. And she was gone for 6 years. For those 6 years, I stayed with my grandma and my grandpa. And they provided food, clothing, and shelter, but didn't give us much nurturing and much hugs and much conversations and just much dialogue. And so there was a big void. That's where most of my trauma started, just not being without my mom. Just imagine not being without your moms for 6 years. The only way I knew that she was gone, well, I knew she was gone, but she'd send us stuff like at Christmas time, like television set. And I lived in a third world country. We didn't have televisions at all. She sent us a washer and dryer, which was pretty cool, and toys, which was pretty cool. So after about 6 years, she finally sent for us. And that's really where my trauma started. I came to this country and I was introduced to my stepdad. Now, I thought the devil was somebody who lived on the ground with horns popping out of his head. But ooh, child, was that man the devil. First thing, he didn't like us at all. He just did not like us. I think it's because we were taking my mom's attention. But in that same sentence, my mom never gave us attention either, because she worked 2 jobs, a day and a night job, just so she can support us. My stepfather, he was very abusive. I mean, I've just never. I'd hear them arguing all the time. I'd be downstairs and they were upstairs and they were arguing over me. And I don't understand it because I was a good kid. I didn't bother nobody. So a lot of times he threatened to send me back to Jamaica, which really just hammered me into the ground because I got scared real bad. I mean, like, can he really do that? Send me to Jamaica? One time I was in college and I planned on getting me this car. Um, so I went and got a student loan to get me a car, $5,000. So I asked my mom, I said, Mom, can you put this up for me? I'm going to put it in the bank. Well, lo and behold, my stepdaddy found it. Next thing I know, it was gone. She told me, oh, well, he borrowed it. He says he's going to give it to you back. And of course, you can imagine up to now, I never got that back. He was just a very abusive man. He also almost kind of treated me like I was some kind of a trophy, because whenever all his friends would come by the house, for some reason, he'd always want me to come upstairs and sit around all them pervert men. And my mom would always call me upstairs. I'm like, why are you calling me up here to sit around? I would just sit there, looking like a bump on the wall, just feeling like really odd and strange. So finally, I decided not to do that. So I remember he would beat me. He would beat my mom. He'd punch me in my face. I have bloody nose, which really scarred my poor little heart. And I was just devastated, hurting really, really, really bad. I mean, he really caused a lot of trauma in my life, even up until now. But one thing I realized is, in order to save myself, I had to forgive him what he did, and I had to do that. I forgave him, but I did not forget. But really, he was really a very bad figure in my life. Then I decided to go to college. That's where I met my trainer. His name is Dr. Bill Chisholm. And Dr. Chisholm, he really looked out for me. He's one of the very few people who really looked out for me. And he saw that I had some pretty good potential. And I was glad for that, because I didn't know what my potential was, because my self-esteem was so low. By the way, one thing that really helped me to really feel good about myself, even though I did not, was to run track. I was really a very good track athlete, and they didn't have to teach me how to run fast. I think I just got that from my parents. I was just a born fast runner. So after I went to college, I decided to go to graduate school. And that's where I met Robert, my ex-husband, Robert. I saw him and I thought he was pretty cute, but I never went after him. He came after me. And once we started talking, then he started trying to tell me what to wear, what I couldn't wear. And I'm like, Now, us track girls, we used to wear our little short shorts because we were track girls. That's how we dressed all the time. And it was always, no, you can't do that. We got married after about, I think, 4 months, 5 months of knowing each other, which was probably not good, because obviously after 5 months, we just didn't know each other. And of course, he had his ways, I had my ways. He had his insecurities, I had my insecurities, and they just never worked out. He was abusive, just like my stepdad, and which was sad. I tried to make it work as best I could, but I figured I just didn't want the kids. At that time, I had all three kids. I think Amber was about 5, Sabrina was 3, and Robert was about 1. I just didn't want to see them arguing a lot like that. So I'm figuring once I get out of that situation, then I'm going to be good. Then I went to live on my own with the kids. And I think that's when my depression really, really started. I just think the culmination of being away from my mom when I was sick, and then not seeing my dad much at all, and then coming to New York and really being traumatized by my stepdad, and then being in a marriage with another man that really didn't, to me, just didn't appreciate me. And I really went through a lot. I remember Sabrina asked me one time about a year and a half ago, Mama, are you ever depressed? And I'm like, no, I wasn't. But in actuality, really, when I sat back and I started looking at it, it was really a bad time for me. So what I try to do is, as I'm growing up and as I'm venturing into the world, I wanted to work with kids, because I know, being the saddest kid in the world, sometimes I had to cry myself to sleep because I was just in so much pain and just so much hurt. So when I moved with my kids, I was in really deep depression. I think that's why I never gave them much attention when it comes to hugging and loving, because I never got that. And I raised them the way that I was raised: give them food, clothing, and shelter, give them support. As long as you're here, that was good enough. But the bad thing about that, when I was having my kids, when I had them and I was living alone with them, because I was so depressed, I think I neglected them. But I didn't neglect them on purpose. And I didn't think I was neglecting them because I was here and because I was providing them with everything. I supported them with everything they did, every basketball game, every football game, got them whatever I wanted, whatever they need, as long as I had the money. I thought I was doing a pretty good job, but I wasn't. I was really failing as a parent. But one good thing that I did do as a parent, I let my children see that I was a hard worker. I was dedicated to what I do, and whatever I put my mind to, I was going to complete and finish it. That's one thing that they did learn from me, and I'm glad they are doing that right now. I'm so proud of them as parents because what I didn't give them, they have learned something, a whole nother realm of parenthood. Robert, Sabrina, and Abra. They are very good parents, and I just never gave that to them, and I'm glad that they finally did it. So my triumph is I decided to work with kids. I was going to the education and coaching because I know that I was such a sad kid. I just wanted to be inspiration and to let other kids know that I feel you all because there were so many kids that are hurting. When I was at elementary school, so many kids came to me crying, telling me how they get hit and how their mamas and daddies and how their mama and daddy, their daddy pushed them through the wall and it was just bad. It was just super sad. So my goal was to every day to go to work and inspire kids, make them feel good about themselves, teach them stuff that they would like, have them laugh, dance, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
Then I decided to go into coaching. And when I decided to go into coaching, I wanted to inspire kids to be their best. And not only be their best, but I wanted them to learn from the best. So in order to learn from the best, I had to learn from other people. And the best people I learned from was USA Track and Field. They taught me everything I needed to know about track. And that's what I taught my kids. I've had kids that are state champions, national champions. They've been in the Olympics. They were collegiate champions. And my goal was just to try to just make kids happy. Because me as a child, I was oh my God, it was just bad for me as a kid. And I guess that's why I could not relay it to my children because something that I never got, I couldn't give to them, but I thought I was giving the best I had, but the best that I was given was not good enough for their emotional well-being. And so where I am now in my life, I feel very proud of what I've accomplished. I've not only helped to motivate my kids in the long run, maybe not back then, but there's a saying, better late than never. I've also helped other people's children that at times that they were hurting and they were lacking in their feelings and emotion, that I would be able to help them out.
Yeah.
So that's how I went from tragedy to triumph, just overcoming being abandoned, uh, being physically abused by my father, my stepfather, I'm sorry, and then being in a really tumultuous relationship with my children's dad, then have to separate from all of that, then to find myself, who I am as a person, and then to portray the positiveness that I have as a person, even though I did not come from something positive. I try to give as much positive as I can to other people and especially other people's children. So basically, that's kind of my story.
Thank you, Mom. That was good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So you guys got to see my mother and my father, and that's important because the first chapter of this book is about them. It's about from my eyes, though. So I created space in my life to invite my father, even though he's flawed and marred, and my mother, even though she's flawed and marred. I created space for both of them. And how I started was when I had my son, I turned my parents into babies. I made them babies in my mind. And once I was able to do that, I had more compassion. And I started to ask the right questions. At first, it was like, you did this, you wasn't here. No, no, no. I went from that to what happened to you? What was your story? What was your relationship like with your mother? What was it like when she was pregnant with you? Then I would go to my grandmother. Grandma, you left them. Why? What was the story behind that? Well, when did you do this? And once I started asking questions, everything started to open up for me and it changed the game completely. So I did not know them at all. I just started to get to know them. really in this book. So this book is healing in real time. When I say that, I mean it. We sat through hard conversations, right, Mom?
Yes.
I sat through hard conversations. And so use this as a springboard. I hope this adds value to you in your situation, whatever that may be, because I know we all got the same stories one way or another. So I'm about to play the first chapter. Here we go. Hold on. It ain't it.
Chapter 1. Know Yourself. I wish everyone could get rich and famous and have everything they ever dreamed of, so they would know that's not the answer. Jim Carrey. My most vivid childhood memory was when I was about 5 years old. My sister was 7 and my brother was 3. Whether it was a sunny spring or fall day, I can't remember all those details. However, I do remember gleefully striding through the gate into our yard, up the steps, and in the front door of our small home on St. Louis Avenue in Hillsdale, Missouri in 1990. We had just come back home from a grocery store run, and I was especially excited. My mom had bought milk for me to serve with my favorite cereal at the time, which was Frosted Flakes. Suddenly, my dad storms toward us from the back of the house and snatches my mother. He was roughing her up by pulling and pushing her aggressively as if she had just murdered his dog, Sheba, or betrayed him in some way. As I reflect on it, I had felt my parents' tension before. However, this day, I saw my parents physically fight. As I grew older, I inquired about this day, and I learned that they had numerous violent episodes in their marriage without me knowing. I eventually uncovered that the thick of the dysfunction and its effects took place while my mother was pregnant with me. Hence, my inherited anxiety, poor vision, and feelings of rejection. Dysfunction prevailed in our home for years before the explosion erupted this day. Normally, my mom was the passive-aggressive type, but this day, she fought back physically with every ounce of strength that she could muster up. My father stands 6 feet 6 inches tall, and my mother is a mere 5 feet 2 inches. Imagine that. The picture of my mom with 2 white plastic grocery bags in her hand, one double bagged with a gallon of milk and some other necessities in the other bag, swinging her arms like a windmill to back my father up off her, is the most vivid, startling, confusing memory I possess of my early childhood. Domestic violence overshadowed the tickle time and storytelling time because it didn't stop there. Physical and proximal abandonment followed. Physical abandonment from my father because he left. Proximal abandonment from my mother because single motherhood of 3 children is no easy task. Proximal abandonment is when the parent is present but absent emotionally. I vividly remember my father backing up with his arms in a blocking motion, then proceeding forward to finally get control of the swinging bags. He held my mom to stop her, while my siblings and I stood to the side, annexed with fear. I don't believe he was expecting that fight out of my mother. Yelling and crying filled the atmosphere, all while disbelief caused my entire body to go into shock and my voice to be silenced. They went into the bedroom to talk while my siblings and I sat crying by the entryway, devastated by what we had just witnessed. Eventually, we got called into the room. My mother was crying, and my dad had a look of defeat. They explained to us that Mommy and Daddy won't be living together anymore. What that really meant was they were getting a divorce. Nothing, I mean nothing, was ever the same after that day. I remember spending 80% of my time with my father. Then, poof, he was gone. He taught us kung fu, played with us, and told stories while my mom spent most of her time working and handling our needs like bathing, clothing, and combing our hair. For us, they balanced each other out. He met our emotional needs, and she met our physical needs. However, the 2 of them together were disastrous. This was a prime example of 2 good people who just aren't good for each other. My father was a sweet and funny type of guy, but circumstances of poverty and feeling like his household was out of control triggered him. Later, I learned from him that the temper he possessed and the yearning for respect was something he was socially conditioned to do from his mother and sisters who fought and beat him up often growing up. My mother was soft-spoken but lacked emotional connection and communication. I learned later that her mother never really connected with her emotionally as a child. Her mother sacrificed everything and left my mom and her 2 younger siblings in Jamaica so she could come to the United States and make a better life for her family. The passports got held up for 4 years. Meanwhile, she started a new life with a new husband and 2 kids in New York. My mother eventually moved to the States to meet her 2 newest younger siblings during high school, along with an abusive stepfather. My father felt hopeless in receiving respect and identity within a pathology and society that predestined him for drugs or prison. My mom yearned to feel supported, to be her authentic self and loved unconditionally. My father's mother would discipline him at times by knocking him unconscious, he recalls. My mother's new stepfather would verbally abuse and threaten her. Both have histories of dysfunction and abuse. So naturally, if these issues are not explored, worked out, and essentially healed in the heart and in the psyche, they are embedded into your unconscious mind. It never goes away. Rather, it lies dormant, waiting to be triggered. Self-discovery. Dr. Gabor Mate, physician and author, mentioned in the film Zeitgeist, Moving Forward, that there is an understanding by Buddha that everything depends on everything else, that the one contains the many, and the many contain the one. You cannot understand anything fully in isolation from its environment. Knowing your biological, psychological, and sociological makeup is the first step in discovering who you already are. Biopsychosocial is the modern scientific term for the nature of human development that says that the biology of human beings very much so depends on their psychological and social environment. So who are you already? Environment does not begin at birth. The moment you are conceived, your environment begins in utero as a fetus. Your biology is immediately being influenced by whatever information mom is circulating to you. Was your mother stressed? Was she at peace? Was she in poverty? Or was she well fed? All which during crucial prenatal development stages, you begin to receive her hormones, nutrients, and other stimuli, or lack thereof. Just think about your mother for a moment. Have you ever had a conversation with her about what her pregnancy was like with you? If you can, I highly recommend you ask. This information is crucial because this is your true beginning. What she was going through predisposed you to behaviors before you even knew you existed. I discovered that physical and psychological abuse from my mother and father was the worst for her while I was in utero. This brings so much meaning to my journey, allowing me to understand the unexplainable levels of stress and fear at an early age. Our personalities, psychological needs, and brains, in particular ways, are hugely influenced by life experiences. Experts say all the love or drama, thought processes, and mannerisms, good or bad, are streamlined directly to the children from the mother beginning in utero. Once we enter the world, our infancy and childhood experiences are shaped by parents, caregivers, other important people, and our culture. For me, domestic violence and divorce later caused me to struggle with depression, a suicide attempt, juvenile pregnancy, substance abuse, and social anxiety, in which I will discuss in later chapters. Through perseverance, the same circumstances straightened me to channel negativity into positivity. Consider for a second, what has your world taught you? The pain body. There are 2 kinds of memory, implicit and explicit. Implicit is our emotional memory, and explicit is our recall memory. The hippocampus is a structure of the brain that encodes recall memory, or explicit memory, beginning at about 18 months. The hippocampus is not fully developed until a year and a half. Therefore, hardly anyone can recall any facts, details, or circumstances prior to this age. Then there is our implicit memory. Our emotional memory is where the impact and interpretation of an emotion gets ingrained in our brains in the form of nerve circuits ready to fire without any specific recall. In other words, something can happen today that will make you feel some type of way, but you don't know why you feel the way you do, and you can't remember any specific facts or circumstances to support your feeling. For example, children who were adopted as babies often deal with emotional memories of rejection and separation. They can't remember their biological mother leaving or even the adoption. However, when perceived as being rejected from other people, they are more likely to deal with great emotional upset and a strong sense of rejection. Mate Zeitgeist, moving forward. Numerous cognitive neuroscientist studies show that our brain is only functioning 20% of the time from a conscious state, the majority of the time. That means you are fully aware of your behavior and thoughts only 20% of the time. The other 80% of the time, we are functioning from an unconscious state of mind. An enormous portion of cognitive activity is non-conscious, figuratively speaking. It could be 99%. We probably will never know precisely how much outside awareness is, says Dr. Emmanuel Donchen, director of the Laboratory for Cognitive Psychophysiology at the University of Illinois. In other words, most of the time, our behavior, especially in dealing with stress, is unconsciously existing in a place of what we were taught by our environment from childhood on how to respond to life. Hence, the importance of meditation, something we will touch on later. Negative emotions can leave a residue of emotional pain. When pain, stress, or trauma occurs in your life, no matter the magnitude, if it is not acknowledged, accepted, worked through, and released the moment it occurred, it is stored in the mind and in the body. The accumulation is also stored in your energy field and referred to as a pain body, according to The Power of Now author Eckhart Tolle. The pain body exists in two stages, dormant and active. Periodically, the pain body is activated and thrives on negative thoughts and emotions. Once it is activated, the pain body literally seeks more suffering to feed on to stay alive. This pain body can also be referred to as an addiction to unhappiness. Uncovering your power. The first major key in self-discovery is to go back into your explicit memory and recall the childhood experiences that impacted you the most. Identify any pain because it is this pain that is unconsciously influencing your behavior and thoughts today. It took 15 years progressively for me to uncover, unravel, and unpack the story of my parents and their parents. I had to acknowledge and accept the truth of the pathology of pain passed down through generations unto me. I didn't need all the answers, nor did I know exactly what to do with the memories. All I needed to do from this point was make a choice. Your greatest power lies in your ability to choose. You must choose that you want to be better, no matter what it takes. You must choose to not let your pain body dictate your behavior. You have to choose to acknowledge that when small things bother you today, and you blow it out of proportion, that it really wasn't the small thing that bothered you so much, but the past pain body that the small thing triggered inside of you. This choice matters so much. It matters because it determines your future. Your future depends on this choice first. It takes tremendous courage to go back into a dark past and have confrontation. Your greatest power lies in your ability to choose to face pain or whomever or whatever may have caused you traumatic stress. Going back, acknowledging the pain, accepting the truth, and deciding to rise above it is not a dance that you have to do for the rest of your life. You just must do it enough to increase your self-awareness. Now, we may have to live with our pain body for the rest of our lives, but it doesn't have to control us. We don't have to be reactionary to everything because of triggers. You will have to choose to release those emotional attachments to the past that do not serve your greatest good today. Your greatest power lies in your ability to choose. We have a choice to analyze what these great lessons in life have taught us about what to do or not to do and what to be or not to be. Your roots must be put into the right perspective. We must choose, practice, and be fully present in the now instead of living in the past. You must reach back into the past to do the work, but you stand on it, not in it. We have the will to choose to do our work, which can and will liberate us from our past. Our early life experiences are the beginning of who we are, but they are not the deciding factor of who we can become. 2 actions to make habits today. I made the choice that I had to release my addiction to unhappiness. I started by dedicating time to the stillness and quiet of my mind. Many people refer to this as meditation, but it's just allowing yourself to be completely present in the now. My thoughts and energy used to dwell in the past and in the fear of the future. I do understand how challenging it is to be present today because there are so many more negative distractions and propaganda in this decade that we didn't have in the early 2000s. Nowadays, I have every show, game, and social networking app in my hands all the time on my iPhone. This makes it difficult to disconnect and be still. However, the rewards of it are unparalleled. Disconnect from devices sometimes. To simplify the process, here are 2 habits I adopted to free myself from my pain body: deep breathing and releasing judgment. 1. Breathing. Humans can go 30 days without food, 3 days without water, but only 3 minutes without air. In fact, breath, since it has no form, is traditionally equated with spirit. The greatest gift that we all have is the present, and the best way to awaken to it is watching your breath. I made time daily to simply breathe and be present. Being available to practice presence so that you can connect with your higher consciousness is vital. This space of awareness is where peace, love, and happiness exist. In the beginning, this consisted of consciously deep breathing by taking 5 to 8 seconds to breathe in slowly and 5 to 8 seconds to expel the breath and repeat for 3 minutes, allowing thoughts to come, but resisting the urge to do anything about it. Then return the focus back to breathing and the awareness of your physical body. Breathe and feel your hands, legs, back, and arms. Breathe and increase your awareness of everything around you. You can increase the times as you get better at it, but the goal is to be present, allow the thoughts to come, and gently shift your focus back to the breath. Breathe in pure positive energy while expelling negativity. The practice of breathing brings us into the now. 2. Releasing judgment. I had so many worries of yesterday and plans that I never enjoyed the now. I never stopped to smell the roses. The thoughts, opinions, and expectations in my mind of what my life experiences were told me who I was and what I thought I should be. These judgments consumed me. I analyzed and judged everything instead of just enjoying the moment for what it was. My mind was polluted and masked by the idea that I was protecting myself from something. The influence of culture, mass media, and the people around us can also have a poignant effect on our minds. It's time to shut all that off for a moment and reset. It did not take long for me to fall in love with this concept of breathing meditation. I did it throughout the day, all day, every day, while eating, dancing, watching television, and I still do it to this day. When I reach a fully present and vertical state, I affirm positive energy and thoughts into my consciousness. I express my gratitude for the seemingly insignificant things in life that we take for granted, such as flowers, sunshine, and the ability to breathe. I set my focus on how I want to feel. I love practicing presence, and I truly believe you will too. Take a second and give it a try before moving on to the next section. During my first 30 days of this journey, I also challenged myself to abstain from negative thinking. I did a no negative thinking challenge. No matter what I was faced with throughout my day, I had to find the silver lining. I had to find the positive within it. Every time I became fully present, or I looked myself in the mirror, I allowed myself to feel adoration and love for myself. I would then say, I am powerful. I am beautiful. I am important. I am enough. I love you. I accept you, flaws and all. I appreciate you. I see you. There is more to you. We are more than our circumstances. We are more than our parents' pain. We are more than the culture around us. We are more than the powers that are in American society would like for us to know. We are more than a 9 to 5. We are more than our talents. We are more than the clothes we wear. We are more than the money in our bank accounts. To our most basic spiritual core, we are all pure positive energy. Adult rational thought occurs in a prefrontal cortex of the brain. That area of the brain does not fully develop until the age of 25. Since we are human beings, you have probably made mistakes. Mistakes are as much a part of life as breathing, and they are only bad when you learn nothing. Learn from your mistakes and produce visible results through your changed behavior. Positive feelings, practicing presence, and persistence can and will carry you through any mistake, and especially through any life storm. I had no guidance, so it took me years to do the root work and challenge my old way of thinking. As a matter of fact, no breakthrough has ever occurred without first abandoning an old way of thinking. Know that you are more and know that there is more. You knowing this is hugely magnetic and will attract more of what you desire. Power move number 1. Practice self-awareness. Knowing yourself is the greatest power move because it makes you take a serious look at your life and put it into the right perspective. It is a process that is not always pleasant, but just like anything in our lives, if we work at it, its rewards prove to be beneficial for a lifetime. Knowing the truth about who you are on a biopsychosocial level and your ability to choose moving forward serves as a stepping stone through life. Knowing that, at your core, you are positive energy can help steer you in the right direction of purpose and value. Knowing yourself helps you make the right choices. Most importantly, it lays the foundation that allows you to love yourself. Knowing yourself is the process of understanding yourself on a deeper level. It's tapping into the human spirit. It helps you deal with insecurities and sometimes can bring you face to face with hurtful memories. It means to know your strengths and weaknesses, your fears, your passions, likes, and dislikes. It's an intentional, conscious effort to live a principle-centered life, respect your core values, honor your priorities, take care of your body, and cultivate healthy relationships. Knowledge of self and full acceptance of your truth must occur before the world fully accepts you. Major takeaway. Consider what you just read. Simplify into 1 to 3 words what you can take away from it to help you grow on your life's journey.
All right. Oh my goodness. Can't believe it. Okay. Yes, everybody. Yes. So at the end of each chapter of this book, I require you to give a takeaway. I think that's how I learn so much and how I'm able to grow, is because anytime I go through something major, it's like, what did I get from this? Like one thing, just one. I think we put too much pressure on ourselves to know too much, when really it's about simplifying life and simplifying lessons. So just like 2 or 3 people, just unmute yourself. Let me know, what's the one thing, like one thing, just one thing you took away from that. Anybody want to tell me?
I'll go.
Yeah, hey Brandy.
Yes, the number one thing that stay in your mess is your message. Like, boom, that's it. You just fed my soul and my spirit with that.
Thank you. Oh wow, thank you, Brandy. Wow, it's the whole purpose and point. Thank you, God. God doing it. Somebody else. Let me get 2 more people. Let me get one thing.
I will go, Sabrina.
Who is that?
This Kendra.
Hey, Kendra.
Hi, how you doing? What I got out of it is when you said go to the roots. Going to your roots about where it originally started from. And that's how you will find out what's going on in your life. And I really took on to that because we pretty much share the same trauma. And girl, this like opened up a it's oh my God, Sabrina, this was really good, and I applaud you for this. You know, it was really on time.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
For a long time, you know, I've been saying, because I always said to myself, it was you know what I'm saying, dealing with different type of men. But no, my problem started when I was a little kid. And when you said that, go to the roots of your problem, girl.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, because it's like if you think of yourself as a tree, you can cut a tree from the branch, or you can cut a tree from the trunk, but that doesn't take it out from the bottom. So to really solve problems in anything, whether it's a traumatic situation from back then or whether it's something going on right now, you got to pull it up from the root to get rid of it. Otherwise, it runs the risk of what? Growing again. So yes, that's a good one right there, girl. Man, all right, one more person. Let me get one thing.
Oh, I'll go.
Who is that?
Dominique.
Hey, Dominique.
Hi. Girl, I done had to pull off. I'm driving home. But it was when, I'm for real, when you said the addiction to unhappiness.
Man.
We get so stuck in thinking things okay, and you know, you're thinking that you can't do better or nothing else is going to happen. It's where you're supposed to be at. And we get so stuck, and you don't let years pass by. Now you got to start all over. But that,
Yes. You know, I'm glad you brought that one up, because now I want a little engagement from you all. So everybody, I want you to access the chat room, because we're going to do a little mental gymnastics. I promise I'm not going to keep you out here much longer, but I would love for everybody to participate in this, because if you've heard this stuff before, then cool. But if you haven't, it's going to be an eye opener. Okay. So what we're going to do, let me make this small. Okay. So I want you to go to the chat room. I'm gonna still share my screen here. Okay, everybody can still see my screen. All right, so access the chat room for me and just get that ready. Make sure it says everyone. So where is my chat room? Okay, here we go. Oh, y'all already been doing it. Oh, wasn't even checking. Thank y'all so much, man. Wow, thank you, man. Long time coming. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening. My mom and daddy was out here. Oh Lord. Okay, so this is what I would like to do before we get off here tonight. Can everybody still see my screen? One person?
Yep.
Okay, y'all see this dress, right? How many people remember this dress? Okay, you probably do. If not, I want you in the chat room to let me know, is this dress white and gold or is it blue and black? White and gold or blue and black? So we got a white and gold. We got white and gold. We got a blue and black. We got a blue and black, blue and black, blue and black, white and gold, blue and black, white and gold. Now we all looking at the same picture, and different people see different things. Hold on to that idea. White and gold, blue and black. One looks, Terrell said blue and black. Rochelle said blue and black. Kendra said white and gold. Mitchell said white and gold. Net said blue and black. So just hold on to that real quick. So you're going to type in white and gold or blue and black, right? All right, so just hold on to that. So we all looking at the same picture, but isn't it interesting that some people see white and gold and some people see blue and black? So I'm not done. We're going to go to the next one. So this is Laurel versus Yanny. So if you hear Laurel, I want you to type Laurel. If you hear Yanny, I want you to type Yanny.
Yanny, 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 Yanny,
Yanny, Yanny, Yanny, Yanny, Yanny, Yanny, Yanny, Tammy. Okay, so nobody really heard Laurel. Wow. That's crazy. And let me tell you something that's crazy right now is when I first downloaded this, I can promise you I heard Laurel. And now I'm hearing Yanny. Tabby? You hear Tabby? Okay. Okay. All right, cool. So we listening to the same thing, and most people heard Yanny. Some people heard Tammy. One person heard Tabby. Okay, we all listening to the same thing. And now this is the one that's really the kicker. All right. So I'm gonna play two different versions of this, and I want you to listen and see if you can understand what this is saying. All right, now if you know what that is, do not write in the comments right now. But if you know what that says, Are you hearing Laurel still, Liza? Wow. Oh man. Okay, so if you've heard this before, I don't want you to type anything, but I want you guys to just listen to that. I'm gonna play it again. Okay. So type in the comments if you know what they're saying. Say yes or no. Say yes means you know what it's saying. No means you don't know what it's saying. Now, if you've heard it before and you've heard of this experiment before, you don't count, Terrell. All right, nobody knows what that is, right? Exactly. Good. All right, so now I'm going to play this second one real quick, okay?
The juice of lemons makes fine punch. The juice of lemons makes fine punch.
Okay, everybody heard that. Type yes in the comments. You know what that says. If you know what it says, I want you to type it in the comments, exactly what it says. The juice of lemons makes fine punch. The juice of lemon makes fine punch, right? Yes, the juice of lemon makes fine punch. So I want you to listen to this one again. I'll play it again. If you can hear it, type yes, I hear it. Yes, I hear it now. Yes, now you hear it, right. All right, so now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna bring it home. All right. For example, my grandmother moved to America to make a better life, but that's not what my mother saw. My grandmother moved to America to make a better life, but that's not what she saw. My mother bust her butt all these years, but that's not what I saw. What I'm saying is, if you don't ask questions, if you don't seek first to understand before being understood, you could be making some preconceived judgments that can scar you for life, that can leave you in a hole for life. But if you were to ask the right questions, to see things the way that person sees things, you would be shocked at what you find out. It is only because I was willing to sit through hard conversations that I was able to finally see things the way my mother saw things and the way my father saw things. Lastly, so that's for that and that. Lastly, with this, the juice of lemons makes fine punch. You will find what you are looking for. You will find what you are looking for. I was looking for answers. I was looking to heal. I was looking for love. I was looking for that. And although it took me a while, I found it because I was looking for it. So Harvard just recently did this study using some of these examples, that if you are looking for the good, you will find the good. If you are looking for the bad, you will find the bad. So what you focus on will expand. What you focus on will expand. And so if there is something that we aren't comfortable with in our lives, we don't agree with in our lives, something we don't understand in our lives, you will find what you are looking for. And with that said, I'm going to wrap up tonight. And I just thank you all for being here. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for allowing my family to be vulnerable. We've never done anything like that before. My mother and father have probably been in the same room twice since they divorced. You know, that was very uncomfortable for my father. So thank you for allowing him to have a space to show up, because he doesn't show up. I was shocked he showed up today. You know, so I'm grateful for him. I'm grateful for my mother. It has been a long, hard road, but I am a living testimony that if you sit through some tough conversations long enough, and if you're looking for the good, you're going to find it. So that's all, you guys. Thank you so much for coming. So you can unmute yourself before you go if you want. I love y'all. Everybody just unmute. It's cool.
Love you, Sabrina.
I love y'all.
Love
too.
you, Brina.
Thank you.
Love
Much
y'all.
love.
Thank
Love you,
so much for
Brina.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love y'all.
Enjoy,
so much.
Jill.
Thank you, Dira. Thank you so much for showing up.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Love
for
you.
inviting us in your
Much
space.
love.
Thank
Proud of
you,
you.
Rochelle.
Thank you, Sabrina girl.
Congratulations.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I love y'all so much. I appreciate it. I can't wait for this book to come out.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Hey, Elizabeth. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I appreciate y'all for showing up. Thank you. It means a lot. God is so awesome. So awesome.
Thank you, girl. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. You too. Blessings
Okay.
to all of y'all. More blessings and healing and love.
Thank you for sharing, lady.
Yay, Reese. Thank you. Love you, girl. Love your family. We appreciate y'all.
You know we love y'all.
Man, forever.
I'm still on here.
I'm here. What's up? What's on y'all heart? Y'all hanging out?
You did a great job. You did an amazing job.
Thank you. Thank you. Man, I'm ready. I'm ready to spread this message across the world, y'all. So if y'all got some connects, I want to spread this. I want to spread it like COVID, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very touching and definitely like much needed. Because people, like, I guess the examples and the different situations, the home situations, people definitely don't talk about it. But then once you bring it to the forefront, it's like, wow, you never really thought about that.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I'm grateful, man. I can't believe I'm here. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part.
You work hard.
Man.
Yeah.
Straight here.
Yeah, sit in it.
Hey, I think I'm gonna be stuck for a minute. I don't think I'm gonna be able to move. Like,
Yeah.
did I?
It just happened.
Yup, it happened.
It happened. Like,
Yeah.
that's deep. That's deep. Whoa. That's deep. I'm grateful though. I'm really grateful.
Yeah, you have a lot of supporters and a lot of people that have been through this exact same thing.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't talk about situations like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
True. Or a lot of people don't know how.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. That's it.
Mhm.
That's it right there.
Or don't even realize that it happened from childhood.
It's
Where it's like, really? Dang.
yeah. I mean, I'm just now getting to that space, like that real free space. So I can only imagine. I had to dig so much. So I can only imagine what somebody who didn't have that same kind of energy that I had. I know it's hard, especially if you just gotta face it and you in your 30s and you just now facing it. You know, I started facing it very young, you know. So that shit was hard.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say, oh, I had to sit through hard conversations, but when I tell y'all, I had the resentment was so bad. I had hate. I hated them. Hate. You know, so I estranged myself from them for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm grateful to be in this place to redefine my story. Like, I'm thanking y'all. Thank y'all for making me this way. Thank you. Because I wouldn't have been like this. I wouldn't have been prepped. I'm perfect for this. I'm perfect for this assignment. Like, I'm the perfect person for this message. I'm the perfect person. And I just want to take it everywhere. Like, you know, because I feel like it's a lot of tools. It's a lot of tools I had to. Yeah, this was a long time. Like, I'm talking study. I just couldn't believe why, like, I was hiding in the coat closet in elementary school, scared to come out. Like, who was hiding? Like, I had to go back, like, why am I hiding in the coat closet? Why do I allow people to bully me and don't fight back, knowing that I can kick their teeth out? Why do I hated myself that much because I hated them that much? Hate, I'm talking pure hate. Like, it was bad. So to be able to sit here, you know, and invite them in this space, you know, and love them messed up like this, it's deep, y'all. It's very deep. But the freedom, like, you can't fake it. You can't fake freedom. So I'm free from that. Like, free.
Well, that is a part of your healing as well, Sabrina.
Yes.
It's a part of your healing. And what you're doing right now is helping someone else. Because we don't know that the stories we have behind us, we never know who else we may touch. Absolutely. You know, with our story. So it's wonderful. And like with me, I stayed across the street from you in Woodnaw. I would have never known that. We were childhood friends. I would have never known that. You know, it seemed so perfect. And that's why you never know what someone else is going through. But look at you here today. I am so proud of you, Sabrina.
Yeah. I think that's why I'm perfect for the assignment too, because I didn't even understand why I moved to Hollywood. Like, I'm not even a social person. You got me going to Hollywood, God? You got me doing what? You got me dancing for who? Not my personality at all, but God put me in them spaces, I think, for this. You know what I'm saying? Because people listen a little bit more when it's attached to the clout. You know how people are. Y'all know how human beings are. So, you know, I never cared about that type of stuff. You know, I just loved working and dancing. But because I have those high experiences, I think it allows people, it opens up the door even more, because people like, hey, you gonna do stuff? Like, like you said, I was perfect. And Nicole said that to me one time too, Elizabeth. She was like, I'm glad you sharing your story, you know, because you pretty and you think you wouldn't go through nothing.
Yeah.
That's the hardest statement ever.
That's what she said to me. Like summer.
I'm telling you, that's really crazy. And I'm like, every time you talk, Sabrina, it just like, it really helps me, because my story is so much similar. Like, I literally, like, if only I can explain the type of week I even had just like last week with dealing with this type of stuff. And I was overwhelmed because I was winning and losing at the same time. Like, winning and losing was coexisting, because it's like all of this good stuff is happening, and then I was just battling all of the, you know, the bad. Like, and it's like, I should not feel like this right now. Like, I should supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to be like living on top of the world. Why do I feel like this in this moment? And then having to dig in that moment and be like, wow, so this stemmed from this that happened a long time ago. And I just really wanted to like go into hiding. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to go back to what I was used to and just hide from the world, delete all my social media apps, and do all it, like, and I really couldn't really bring myself to hide like I was used to, but I also couldn't like
come back out to the forefront as I was used to. So it's like I was just going through a whole battle with it. And I finally had to like surrender. Like I was just like, I have to surrender this because it's like I'm gonna drive myself crazy. With this whole, you know, battle with myself over this one area. Like it is literally that one area. And I knew I didn't have like a self-confidence issue as far as like, it's not that I don't know myself or don't love myself. So why is it that I limit myself, you know?
Right.
And so, like I've been battling with that, and it's crazy how like I went back to my family and just like where this stuff stems from, and I'm like, wow, like so my whole life I've been dealing with this and not really paying attention, like kind of suppressing it, and it's crazy. Like it's really crazy. But like everything that I've ever wanted is like manifesting at the same time. So it's like, I'm like, what? Like, how do I deal with this? You know? So it's a lot of processing.
God definitely still bless us, like in our midst. Because I mean, I was so messed up when I was touring, and when that's when it really clicked for me. Because it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be on stages, I'm gonna do this, and I had got that. And when I got there, I was like, I thought I was supposed to be better now. And I realized I was not better at all. And I'm thinking, and then I was like, okay, well, the next gig I get, I'm gonna be better. And so then I got into that loop of validating myself off working with celebrities. And then when I wasn't working with a celebrity, because none of that, all of that is temporal, it's only for a season, they come out with their album and then it's over. I would hit and crash so deep because I allowed myself to go into this fantasy world. Like, this ain't even my world. This ain't even my truth. I'm at a job. And so when I came home, I would crash. Like, and that's why a lot of celebrities go south, because they used to be on world stages, they hide. That's why Heath Ledger, he took his own life, because he got so deep into character, he couldn't get back out. And so every time I go on stages and I tour and I come home, it was like a slap in the face. Like, it would take me like at least a month to come back, because my mind would still be on tour. It's a crazy experience, you know, but I'm grateful. Robert Kelly, he never got out of the tour in his mind. And then when you come down, what you do? You start taking it out on people. That's what he did. I'm assuming, you know, because I wasn't there when he was doing what he was doing. But the same thing, it's the same concept. It's the same concept. You was jacked up as a child, and you done got all this fame and riches and glory, and you on stages getting high off fame, like a drug. And then when you come back down and you ain't got your album out, or your song ain't doing as good, what happens? You revert into that child again. And depending on whatever your pain is, my father, he was abusive. R. Kelly, he's abusive. Or my mother, she went into her hole. Bianca, we go into holes. It just, I don't even judge men no more when they're abusive, because it's just their way. Our way is different, but it's just our way of doing it. Their way of doing that, and that's because they have masculine energy. So they have to feel like they have to overpower something. And that's how they lift themselves up. So that's why I give my father grace, even though, you know, he went through what he went through and he's done what he's done. It don't matter, it's still my father. And I can't hate him forever. And so I was like, you know what? I went to go live with him. I was like, I gotta do this. Like, straight went to go live with him for a year, which was interesting. But it was good for me. And I went in there, it was crazy. I went in there, you ain't gonna teach me nothing. You ain't gonna do this. But I came in with the light of Christ. So I didn't teach you. I didn't try to teach him nothing. But by the end, his whole language switched. Sabrina, I learned a very valuable lesson. And that's because even in his mess, while he would yell or cuss or be aggressive or whatever, I would just sit there like, that ain't what God said about me. That's not the truth. But I wouldn't do nothing to him. I wouldn't disrespect him. I wouldn't try to attack him back. And then this the key right here. by the time it was time for God to pull me up out of that, he had me go get his medication one day. So I went to go get the medication and looked at it, looked at the side effects. It wasn't even him. It was the drugs. So I just got a lot more compassion for human beings because you just don't know what they got going on. I'd rather just walk away from you. I'm gonna just walk away from you. I'm gonna leave you alone because I don't know what you got going on. I don't know what kind of drug you on, whether it's prescription or not. I don't know what trauma you've been through. So I just remove myself because that's what I can control. Oprah said that one time. Hey, if I can't control the energy, I can control me. I can exit. And that's how I handle people now, but only through the power of being able to handle my parents that way. When I conquer my parents, I conquered life. When I conquered them. So if y'all thought the first chapter was good, get ready. It goes deeper. I take y'all through the industry with me and everything, like how the triggers show up, a lot. So, God is good. God is good. For real. And I could have done it without God. I did it. I ain't gonna even play with that. Like a lot of fasting, a lot of prayer, a lot of isolation, a lot of sacrifice. Crazy. But we
Yeah. Yes, we are.
I appreciate you, Terrell, Mitchell, Kendra. I see you still out here. Elizabeth, Shanitra, and Bianca. Man, I appreciate you all so much. Okay. So I'm gonna get off here. I have a special announcement coming soon. We got the book cover done. The book is in printing. So I'm gonna get my first 10 copies, make sure everything is everything. Then we're gonna print. It'll be available on Barnes and Noble. I'm doing the audiobook version. It's gonna be available on Amazon. It's gonna be everywhere. It's gonna be good.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yay!
I can't wait to read it.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I can't wait for you to read it. Because it's pretty cool, man. It's deep. It's a good journey. It's a good underdog story. And I promise it ain't all just sad. There's some victories in there too. It's a nice blend. I tried to make it a journey, highs and lows. So I'm grateful. So, all right, y'all. I'm gonna be a y'all do. Have a good night. Good night, rest. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. I'll never forget this moment. So if I'm calling on y'all and tagging on y'all, y'all will know why, because I see y'all very clearly right now.
I wanted to read it before, but now I really want to read it now.
Yay! Thank you. Yes, it's good. It's good, y'all. It's good. And it's not just about my parents. It's like really context. It's context, and it's me, and it's the story, and it's the struggle, and it's the parents and the triggers and all that beautiful stuff. It's a beautiful journey. It's a beautiful journey. And it ends on a high note. Let me just say that. It ends on a high note. So the underdog wins. Let's just say that. So, stand free.
All right. Good night.
All right. Good night, everybody. Yeah,
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, beautiful.
I love y'all, man, for real. Thank you. I'll see y'all on social media.
Cool, baby.
All right.
Love you. Have a good
Good
night.
night, love.
All right. Good night. Good night, Mitchell. Good night, Terrell.
Good night, Brina.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.